once again, 45 Alpha Charlie Papa channel. This is the Singing Gunsmith. Yes, I've changed it to the Singing Gold Gunsmith because what the heck, I can't help but sing. It's what I do. Anyway, this time we thought we were going to go and start on our project rifle. We had talked about this last time. This is a Winchester model 1906 22 pump gun that is in really abhorrent condition. Abhorrent? How about that? That's like a multisyllabic word. For a Slavic guy, that's not bad. Anyway, it's 22 pump, takedown model. You can see the takedown screw right there. Broken stock. I mean, it's seen better days. And I've actually started this video a couple times previously, and what I found I was doing is I kept fixing things so I could take them apart quicker on the screen. And that's really not what we're trying to do here, is it? We're trying to show you how this should be done. So anyway, anytime you get a project gun like this in, what you need to do is take it apart, take a look at what you have, what parts are missing, so that perhaps you can get them ordered or made if necessary, and take a look at condition and make some decisions about what you're going to do with it. Okay, so let's start with taking this old firearm apart. We know it's empty. And the first step is, since it's a takedown model, we can simply unscrew the takedown screw here. And this one is particularly simple because it just then comes apart. Can't ask for much easier than that. Take the butt plate off of it. This one happened to have a Winchester original butt plate on it. Very nice thing to have usually, but it's as bad a condition as the whole rest of the gun. I don't know, we may buy a reproduction for that. Removal of that took removal of 2 wood screws, and I didn't figure we needed to go into great detail on that. We'll try and save time for some of the things you need to see how to do, rather than here's my screwdriver and this is how you turn it. Okay, second of all, now we've got the receiver and the action, and we need to take that down. So first thing we will do here is we will take and push the pin out of the magazine tube. Well, first we'll take the magazine tube out. And this is one of those problems. One of the things that happens in these is things that should be simple aren't always. Things that want to come out don't. So far too many people end up taking a huge hammer to them and banging them out or forcing them out one way or another. That is generally not the way to work on a firearm. Let's go here and we'll take some of my super penetrating handy dandy Mobile 1, and we'll put a couple drops in here where the tube, well, that's where the tube goes through the okay, let's try it up here where it matters. There we go. And we can see whether we can work it back and forth a little bit. And boy, it's in there tight as a drum. Tight as a drum. We'll give it a couple minutes to work here. It's generally one of those things we should do, is let her work for a couple minutes. And when that doesn't work, and it hasn't, I'll take a pair of smooth-jawed parallel pliers. Smooth jaws because I don't want knurling or teeth in the plier to tear this up too much, and as we pull on it, as we pull on it, you'll see it slowly comes out. The reason it's tight seems to be, for as much a reason as anything else, is that it's full of gunk. So we can clean this off, and most likely all it's really going to take is some oil on this, and probably steel wool to take down some of the crud that's been built up on it. You'll also notice that we've discovered our first missing parts. The follower and spring is not in this. Those are generally available on the market, so we'll probably have to order follower and spring for our magazine tube. That's unfortunate, but there it is. Okay, the next thing we'll want to do is to remove the magazine tube itself. Now this should really only be held in by a pin. That's a pin that goes in here on this very first that holy thing. That pin is not there, so there's another part we're missing, and it's not pulling out. So once again, we have a problem of things being cruded up, and we don't know where or why. So all we can really do is once again put just a few drops of oil. And remember, let's not soak this thing. We don't want it soaked. What we want is we want to take this and just put a few drops of oil in it. Let me adjust this a little bit so I don't have to keep holding it right up here. There we go. And see whether or not we can't get this to move. This is complicated by the fact that this top ferrule here has been silver soldered on, and we're certainly going to hope that they didn't silver solder the magazine tube in there too. I don't think so. I don't see any silver solder there. But okay, so this is exactly the type of thing that I wanted to make sure we were covering when we were talking about project rifle. Now you've got an old rifle, been around forever, and it just doesn't want to come apart. So what do? Take a big hammer to it, put it in a vise, squeeze it, ruin the part, but hold it hard enough to hammer the barrel off? None of that. We want to stay subtle with gunsmithing as much as we can. I mean, you're going to have your times when you need to really, work on something. This is not necessarily one of them. In other words, we want to use the least amount of force we can possibly use. So let's come over here and take our microphone off, and hope we'll still be able to get some sound. Now we're going to put it in our padded vise, upside down. Now we've got the gun held rigidly, and we can use both hands on it. And we actually got started a little bit. It's moved about 1 inch, and it's bound up again. So we can, a few more drops of oil. Try it again. Not moving. Okay, so what we need is something that we have better leverage, better purchase on. So I'm going to take a brass tipped punch, and I'm going to place it in the loading port where you would drop your .22 ammo in. That gives me a handle and much more leverage. I'm pulling that out, and I've got about another inch. So we're working this out just a little at a time, and at the same time, most importantly, we're not doing any damage. We do not want to damage this piece if we can find a way of getting it out without damaging it. And we can push it back in a little bit, and try pulling it back out, and boy, that's wound up pretty good. So let's take our nylon brass hammer. We talked about that as one of the tools we wanted when we were talking about hammers. And somewhere in here I should have a nylon punch. I really don't want to damage this piece if I can get away with it. Once again, I'll come up here and I'll just lightly tap it. And I got about another 1/8 of an inch. This is kind of work that is always picky. You just don't know. You don't want to damage it. At the same time, it can be really hard to move. I think what I want to do is I want to grab an old screwdriver here, and I want to put it in the tip and see whether or not we can turn it any. Oh yeah, we got a little bit of turning action here. A little bit of turning action back and forth. We can move that left and right just a little bit, break the tension, see if we can come back in here and try again. Yeah, there we go, a little bit, just a little bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue this, and it's probably something that you don't want to sit there and watch happen for the next half an hour or so. So perhaps what we'll do is we'll shut this off, come back to it, and show it to you after we got it off. But here we go. We're going to work it left and right a little bit again. A couple more drops of oil. And try it again. See, maybe we can take the nylon side of this hammer, tap it back in just a little bit. We want to distribute that oil a little bit. And it moved again. I wonder if this is bent. We're running into a little problem there. As long as it keeps giving us a little, we'll take a little each time. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get enough to pull it out of there. What do you think? Now, while we're doing this, answer a couple of questions we've had come up. One is, if I'm the singing gunsmith, why don't I sing more? Well, generally, when I'm in the shop alone, I do. That's why I decided on the singing gunsmith. Second of all, I feel sorry for you guys. If you have seen the ends of any of the previous ones where I have sung Happy Trails, you'll know I'm doing you a favor by not singing more. It's a charity thing. I feel sorry for you guys. You're a captive audience. Yes, I know you could always turn it off. You know, it's going little by little. I can't say as I like it. But all we're going to be able to do with that is continue to work on it a little at a time. One of the real banes of gunsmithing, as far as I'm concerned, is patience. The more patience you have, the better a gunsmith you will be. I have a friend that has the patience of a rock. I swear, that guy can spend as much time as the job takes, no matter how long it takes. I, on the other hand, have more of the patience of a 4-year-old. This is liable to get a lot bigger hammer before this is over. I'm kidding. But patience is an important thing, because right now I could get upset. I could start really banging on this thing, and boy, I'd get it off, but I'd pay for it on the other end. Oh, look at this. All of a sudden, I got something that felt loose. Loosey-goosey. Now this is, as I said, this is a good lesson in what you can expect to happen when you start working on firearms. That everything is not going to just, you know, come off the way the book says. Unloosen screw 1, pull out pin 2, and it will come loose. Not necessarily. If it's been on there for 100 years, you may have different ideas of what it's going to do than the experts did. Now suddenly this is went from loose to being tight again. So let's see what we can do. We'll rock it back and forth. We'll do that. Anything that doesn't damage, again. Now we have, you know, I've really got two choices here. I can continue to do this and show it to you and try and make jokes and talk about things in between. I could even sing you a song, but that's not going to get it done. What's going to get it done is persistence. And I don't think you want to sit there and watch 20 minutes of persistence. So let me see if I can pause this, and then we will go back, and once we get it off, we'll come back and see what we've got. That's the important thing is, we have finally now got this worked out to the point that it's going to come out. And again, simply persistence. Now, we want to see how dirty that was, what the oil took off of it. There you go. That's about dirty enough. But we now have our magazine tube removed. Ta-ra! No extra charge for that. Ta-ra, by the way. Okay. Next thing, let's take this receiver apart. This little cover here over the operating rod cover, you know, some technical term like that. We're going to pull this screw out and slide this cover off. And once again, this is a gray screwdriver. It does not fit that screw particularly well, so let's put that one back up. And I know I had one here that fit. Here's a dichotomy. Here's a Brownell superset bit and a Wheeler handle. Competitors! Got competitors working together. I mean, next we're going to be working towards world peace. Get the Brownells and the people over at Midway USA together, and next thing you know, it'll be the Russians and the Chinese will be coming over and being our buddies. You believe that one, do you? Not likely. Okay, we'll get that screw out. Yeah, now this cover, once that screw is removed, just slides straight out. It's dovetailed. This way I drop those to make sure that they're good and solid. You get that ting, that shows you proper heat treat. I was checking. Now, with the magazine tube out and the cover off, we should be able to just rotate that right out of there, and there's your forward handle, pump handle, and it's held on to the metalwork by little screws in here. They can easily be removed at this point too. And as I said, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do about the wood on this yet, whether or not we're just going to buy wood to put on it. From the point of view of this video, it's probably best if we just buy it and put it on, because actually, what does that tell us? That will tell us that it's something that you can easily do. When you get into stock making, that's a whole different ball of wax. Although this would not be a bad gun to learn it on, because this is a relatively simple stock. So we'll make some decisions about that as time goes on. So here's the fore-end pump wood. There's the action bar assembly. I had somewhere, well, we won't do that now. Okay, so that's taken apart. Now we need to take the bolt off. The bolt, you have to hold in the firing pin to unlock it. So if you hold in the firing pin, and then you pull up on this and back, the bolt will slide, assembly will slide right out. With the bolt assembly out of the gun, we can look in here, and you can see the firing pin moving. There you go. And you can look at the end of it here to look at what kind of shape it's in. If it's broken off or rounded, we probably want to replace the firing pin. This one looks to be in relatively decent shape. I don't see any real damage to the firing pin. And of course it's about half the size of the 22 shell, and it's made out of steel, so it'd be pretty hard to wreck. If we need to take that firing pin out, there's two screws right here. We can pull those out, and that firing pin will come right out of there, and we'll probably do that to clean it up. But nonetheless, that's a part. So what do we have now? We have a stripped receiver, and we have a barrel. Let's get everything off of it. The next things we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start addressing some of the problems with this gun. One of them is to check the bore. I think I told you before that there's no rifling on this. I don't know whether we can get that. Okay. Can you see down that bore? You see any rifling in there? Boy, that looks pretty smooth to me, other than, looks like maybe the sewer line down to your, from your house to the storm sewer. Maybe we run a couple patches down there, and we'll take a look at it. Of course, we have the butt plate, or the butt stock, and the receiver assembly. That, with the removal of the screws that we don't have, we'll simply pull apart again. So now we've got the receiver assembly. the rear part of the receiver assembly, and the buttstock that we're going to have to decide what we're going to do with all those beautiful wood screws. And that is obviously broke really good. I mean, that just isn't kind of broke. That's busticated pretty fair. Buttstock off. We're going to pull that one out of there. And there certainly is nothing wrong with that. All the pieces appear to be there. Let me show that to you here. All the pieces appear to be there. Everything appears to work. It's just old and worn. Anyway, I think for this time that's probably where we should stop. We've bored you a little bit with some of the things going on.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
You ever had one of those projects that you just felt like you wanted to give up on, just throw your hands up in the air and walk away? Well, my advice is when you get to that point, throw your hands up in the air and walk away. You can always come back to it later. There's the one screw is all that usually holds the buttstock on. We remove that screw and I've got a phone call. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Hello. This is Stary Piednik, Polish rock and roll singer. You want to hire the band? I don't want nothing from Medicare. I'm just trying to sell time for the band. You want to, you got a bar mitzvah? You got a wedding, something to do? You want a good polka band? Hey, thinking on you too much, but I don't want no Medicare coverage. You can keep yours. Thank you. I do this, I probably shouldn't. That's evil and mean. Why do I treat people like that? Did I need them to interrupt this right in the middle? I did not. By the way, I should introduce Amber. This is our pet. She is a mix of a golden retriever and an English Springer Spaniel. Hi, Amber. You want to say hello to the people? Huh? Well, you like everybody, don't you? Yes, she's my four-legged friend. Four-legged friend, a four-legged friend, she'll never let you down. She's honest and faithful right up to the end. My wonderful 1, 2, 3, four-legged friend. That's an old Roy Rogers tune. We're out of here.